Alright, so let's say we want to start on this root chord here, or this root note here. So we've got that. We know where the note is. We found it somehow. You know, we could have found it from C is the next dot up from the B dot. The next note up from the B dot. So here's the B dot, here's the C. We start on the C. You want to decide how you're going to play it. Say you want to play a C, you want to play a C chord or something, you know, kind of thing. So we start on the root shape. It's going to be in the E shape. Okay, if we want to play this chord, root 5-3 right here. So we know we're in the E shape there. So you know E shape's going to go to C shape. C shape's going to go to G shape. All right. So we're looking for ways to associate what we want to play with the shapes. Now, additionally, with the root shape, if we want to do an arpeggio, root 3-5, it's going to go from G shape to D shape to A shape, which is part of the G shape. We'll use it as the outer note. If we're using the C as the outer note, it's going to be the root as the outer note is going to be the G shape, right? Its outer note is the root. So we got a G shape there, D shape, A shape, warp over, not warp over, but over for the sevenths, for the tab over there for the E shape. So it's important to know which direction we're going, but we know which string shape we're playing in. It makes it easier, you know. So you got the root, you can do your arpeggio there. So you know, let's look at it note by note. We got root, and we're going to go to the third. Now the third is going to be part of that D shape. So you got to make that association, internalize it, that third is part of that D shape if we're going outer notes. If we're going inner notes, the third is part of the C shape. But if we're heading this way up the G shape, we're going to be using the D shape and the A shape. So we want to internalize. We're going to take the 3 from the D shape there, and then the 5 from the A shape, just like that. Now we know we're in the A shape, kind of thing. So this is the associations we want to begin to make. We want to pay attention to where are the notes in the outer and the inner notes in these linked cage shapes. Now that's about it for today's lesson. I'm sure we could stumble onto something else. So let's wipe the slate clean here and look at some a little bit of anything else on the chart. We did talk about this. We don't want to get into going around the modal circles, but these are the modes. We can associate this with the modes. So in the C box, let's look at the C box right here. We have a C-shaped C, 5 root 3, 5 root 3. We have a D minor shaped D minor. So that would be your D minor shape right there, 6, 2, 4. But how would we start playing it from down here? If we want to play it, it would be a cage bound. If we're playing a cage bound, it's easier if you're doing the G shapes. Do we have a G shaped? Here's a G shaped 2 minor, and that would be over here. All right, and this is particularly in the E box, and we talked about how that's in the E box because G is the next shape up from E. So here's your G-shaped D minor over here, right? So we get 2, 4, 6 there. G minor shape G minor shape D minor. If you remember, going around the circle, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 again. So it's root 2 minor, 3 minor, 4, major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7th half diminished, and root again. So where were we? D minor. So that's, you look at it as in the cage. I forgot exactly what we were talking about. So we have that. We were talking about this E cage here. I guess I should have used the drawing tool to show that. So in the E box there, we have the D minor shaped. When we want to do the cage bound versus arpeggio, in the cage bound, we're looking to find the chord. So in cage bound means you're not gonna arpeggiate the thing. So for a C, we would go, and then from here we would go. That's cage bound arpeggio. Open arpeggios like that. So we went across cages. Now the way to do it is either with G, you know the shape of it from the bottom. So often what happens is you either know the chord shape on the bottom 3 strings, or you know the chord shape on the top 3 strings, or you know the chord shape on the middle 3 strings. One of the easiest ways to look at it, okay, with C kind of transverses the middle part. Everybody knows the C shape is root 3, 5 there. Or you put your fingers on root 3 root there, and the 3 and the 5, okay, and would play themselves because there's a fret nut there. So those would be open strings. So there are chords that transverse the middle part, such as the E chord. Well, let's look at the E box over here with root. Where's our E box? So these are lined up. See, 7, 7, 7, 7. So we can use this E label for this E box here with the E-shaped Ionian. All right, so here's a familiar chord in the middle part. But what we really want to do is expand it so that we know exactly what notes are also being played, not only on the bar, but completely in the triad, the 3-note arpeggio. So that's why we get into arpeggios, and we get into root arpeggio, first inversion arpeggio, second inversion arpeggio. 5 root 3. So the second inversion arpeggio becomes the C shape. The root arpeggio becomes the G shape. Here's your G root, root 3, 5. Okay, the third inversion arpeggio, okay, second inversion becomes the C shape there. Root is the G shape. First inversion arpeggio, believe it or not, becomes the D shape. And some people just know that by memory. I don't know that by memory. So we got the D shaped here. We got 3, 5 root, 3, 5 root 3. Here's your D shape. So if we start on, let's go back to this diagram here. If we start on any of these notes, we can build our arpeggio. There's no root down there in the C box, but we can do one from the E box or the G box, and we can build our arpeggio from there. So we got to make our little box here. Are we going to do an E box, or are we going to do a G box? If we're in the G box, then we can do our arpeggio and root. If we're in the E box, okay, the arpeggio is going to be cage bound and on string. So it would be root 3, 5, root 3, 5. It's going to be on string. If you're arpeggiating, it doesn't matter. So that's the end of it for today. It's pretty much what I've been trying to get into some new ground here with chart 140. I thank you for listening, and keep watching the videos. Occasionally I'll post the Facebook group link underneath, not every time. And we'll see you next time.